Hi everyone, Tom Wolf here, and in this video I'll be showing you how to create this glassy texture in Omnisphere. This is a preset called Glistening Eyes, and it was included as a free download in the Synth Vault in October 2022. If you're an Omnisphere user and you'd like to download free presets every single month, then just head to synthvault.net. Let's have a look at how to create this preset. Okay, so let's start with layer C, and in layer C we've got it set to sample engine, and we've got this sample loaded in called Glass Harmonica A, and this comes from the factory samples in Omnisphere. Now this is a sample of a glass harmonica, and a glass harmonica was an instrument created by Benjamin Franklin no less, and it has this really kind of ethereal, kind of wonky glass sound. So it sounds like this. So it's got this kind of really pure glassy sound, but actually has a little bit of grit to it and a little bit of kind of discomfort. So for this sample, we've got our amp envelope set up. So we've got a 2.51 second attack going on there. We've got our sustain all the way to the top, and we've got a really long release, as you just heard. So that is just under 10 seconds. We're then going to be running this through the granular engine. So I'm going to switch this on. As you can see, we've got it set to position mode, and we've got the position set to 0.401. Grain depth is set to 0.765, intensity is very low, 0.05, smoothing is at halfway, spread is all the way up, and then we've got detuning down to 0. We're also not doing any pitching here. So that sounds like this. So if we take the granular engine off, so what we're doing with the granular engine is essentially focusing on this quite nice kind of sweet spot. So it's got a lot of the kind of harmonic content, but it's not going too overboard. We're not getting too much of that kind of scratchy sharpness there. So it's just kind of focusing on this quite pure section. Now we're then going to run this through the filter. So I've got this set to thick UVI, which is the preset that I've created. So that's set up like this. We've got it running in series. We've got filter 1 set to low pass UVI 1 with the cutoff offset set to 0.561. There's no resonance offset and there's no variant offset there. And then we've got filter 2 set to low pass filter UVI 3. Cut-off offset, resonance offset, and variant offset all set to the center. So we've also got our cut-off set to 0.079 and a tiny little bit of resonance on here as well, 0.040. And as you can see, our key following is set to halfway. We've also got our envelope set to 0.470. So if we come out of here and look at the filter envelope, we've got a really big, slow kind of time going on here. So 11.67 seconds on the attack. The decay is over 16 seconds there, and the sustain is down to 0.74. And finally, we've got a really long release, 14 seconds. So that is just going to soften our sound a little bit there. So you can hear it building. So if we take the filter off there. So we're kind of removing a lot of that kind of really top stuff there, and especially on the slow build. Okay, we've also got our velocity here set to just under halfway, so we are actually getting some kind of dynamics to the filter as well. So that's where the kind of main glass sound is coming from. Now let's have a look at layer B. So we're going to switch off layer C, come over to layer B. As you can see, we've got it set to sample, and we've got it set to E toothbrush BRM harmonic. Again, this is a factory sample in Omnisphere. All of the samples used in this preset are factory samples. So that sounds like this. So as you can hear, we've got this really kind of thin, brittle sound, but with quite a lot of harmonic stuff going on there. A little bit kind of sharp in the harmonics at the top there. I've also got the amp envelope set up similar to layer C. So we've got 2.51 seconds on the attack, sustain all the way up to the top, and again, just under 10-second release time. We're then going to run the granular engine on this. So again, we've got it set to position. The position I've picked out is 0.247, and we've got the same settings down here as on layer C. So grain depth just over 0.75, very low intensity, smoothing halfway, spread all the way to the top, detuning all the way to the bottom, and no pitching going on here. So now that sounds like this. So as you can see, I've focused on this really kind of soft part here. And if we take the granular engine off, you can hear we're making it a lot more kind of ambient, a lot softer, a lot smoother. So that's just going to be getting layered with our glass harmonica sound here. It's just adding some kind of harmonic content and giving it a little bit kind of extra. So let's switch those off and we'll look at layer A. So come over to layer A and switch that on. So again, sample, we've got it set to glass picking sample, okay? This is a really nice kind of pure glass sound. We've already got the amp envelope set up, and again, it's the same as the other two layers, so 2.5 seconds on the attack, sustain all the way up, and just under 10 seconds on the release. So as you can hear, we've got this really pure glassy sound there. So again, we're going to be switching on the granular engine here. Okay, so we've got our granular engine set to position, and we've got it focusing on this area just after the attack here. So this kind of like smooth decay on the sample. So that is set to 0.028. Most of these settings are the same. So again, we've got grain depth at 0.75. We've got intensity at 0.05, smoothing halfway, spread all the way up, and detuning off. However, where this one differs is we're now going to be pitching the grains. So the pitched grain knob there is set to 0.530. The interval is set to 12 semitones, and we're not gliding at all, so it's just going to be kind of picking out those notes. But what we've got here is we've got it set to wild mode, and you can see the direction is set to up. So what that's going to do is it's essentially going to keep pitching up and up and up. So let's hear that in action. And you can hear it gives us this kind of really delicate sort of rising pitch that just kind of happens quite randomly. But it's really nice and smooth. So then we're also going to filter this. So here's the filter. Again, this is another one of my presets for the filter called High Low UVI. And this is essentially creating a bandpass filter. So in filter 1, we've got it set to high pass UVI, cutoff, resonance, and variant are all set to the center. Filter 2 is set to low pass UVI 1. As you can see, the cutoff offset is set very high here, 0.649, and again, no resonance and variant offset. This is also set to series, okay? So our cutoff here is set to 0.170, and we've got a little bit of resonance, 0.60. Variant is set to halfway, We've got the key follow set to halfway, and again this time we've got our envelope just over halfway, so that's 0.620. If we come to our filter envelope, first thing is we're not controlling this with the velocity, so this is set all the way to 0, and we've got this really slow filter envelope happening here as well. So the attack is 13.67 seconds. I think our sustain, yeah, that's all the way to the top, so our decay is not really doing anything here. And then the release is set all the way to the top, so a 20-second release. Let's have a listen to that. So you can hear just how thinned out that is. Kind of removing all that bottom end with that high pass filter. And just kind of letting through this really thin band of kind of glistening, pitching glass there. So for that, we're also going to come over to our effects, and we'll come over to layer A. And on layer A, so for this very thin kind of granular pitching layer here, we've got a proverb, and the wet mix is set to 100%. So this is going to be a pure wet sound. We've got the size set to 59. The time is very long, 15 seconds there. A pre-delay of 14 milliseconds. We've got the density all the way up, and then over here we've got the diffusion all the way up and the width all the way up as well. So let's have a listen to that. So that's just giving us this really kind of ambient, serene, pitching glisten. So now we can play all the layers together. So I'll turn on layer B and layer C, and it sounds like this. So we've got this really kind of smooth, deep, glassy sound coming from layer C. We've got this kind of harmonic content coming from layer B. And then we've got this kind of pitching glisten coming from layer A, which is giving us a lot of that kind of interest. Without it, it's quite a slow, plain sound, but adding in layer A just gives us this really nice kind of character to it. So finally, we'll look at our effects. So if we start with the common effects here, firstly, we've got a precision comp, which is just going to be kind of just kind of gluing all these layers together. Precision comp is really nice as a kind of gluing compressor. And then we've also got a chorus echo here as well. So we've got the wet mix set to 26.6% there. Delay is set to 8th dotted notes. Feedback set to 37.5. The rate is set to 1.01 hertz. Depth all the way up, and it's in BPM mode, okay? So that's just going to give us a bit of extra ambience. Some very light kind of chorusing there. So So then let's come over to our auxiliary effects. So I'm going to turn the aux return up here, and as you can see, we've got the aux send set to 0.353 here. And we're not sending from any of the individual effects channels. So here we've got another proverb, and again the mix is set to 100% wet, so this is going to be a purely wet mix. We've got the size set to 45, time set to just under 12 seconds, pre-delay is 14 milliseconds, density is close to the top, 945, and then we've got diffusion all the way up to the top, and width all the way up to the top as well. So what this is essentially going to be doing is just giving us some extra reverb on all three. So on layer A, we've kind of got a reverb feeding into a reverb, which gives us this really nice kind of ambient sound. And then of course we get this really long ambient reverb on the rest of it as well. So that's how you create the preset Glistening Eyes. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you're an Omnisphere user and you'd like to download free presets, then head to synthvault.net. Every single month I give away 5 brand new free presets for Omnisphere, as well as a bunch of other synths. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe and ding the bell to be notified about my future tutorials. Until next time, take care.